Hello everyone, we're going to get right into this video. I do apologize, I've had to redo all the audio for this particular video as something just wasn't quite right and I'm investigating it as we speak. But anyhow, beef stroganoff, a hearty meal, good, great tasting, and very simple to make. So here in this frying pan, as you can see at the top of the screen, not by much, I know, but hey, it's there. I have a tablespoon of olive oil in a hot pan. As you can see, it is very hot. And I'm putting in there about a pound and a half of ground beef. Now, I'm using ground beef today because that is what I have. Normally, this recipe would call for strips, thinly cut strips of steak, of any kind of steak you would want. But I've decided to use the ground beef today. It's what I had on hand, and it's very simple to cook it down. So as you can see, we're going to keep breaking it down and we're going to cook it. Some of it's going to get seared off in nice brown, crunchy bits, which is always fantastic. Excuse me. And we're just going to keep going. Now, as you can see, the beef is cooked down. I'm going to add some coarse salt to it to add to the flavor and the seasoning. Up on the other burner, as you can see up there in the right-hand corner, I do have a pot of water going, bringing it up to boil. Those are for the noodles, for the stroganoff. So I'm going to keep stirring this around for a bit to brown off this meat. And it's always good to taste as you go. See if, seasoning is needed. This is not some box stuff that everything is pre-seasoned for you. Taste, add is one of the things that we have to go for here. So now I am going to take out all the meat. And leave behind the majority of the fat. If you have a colander, this would be a heck of a lot easier. I, unfortunately, do not. I've misplaced it. Some people would say I lost it. Yeah, I've lost it. I can't find it anywhere. No idea where it is. It's not in this house. So I have a slotted spoon, just taking out all the beef as much as I can. Boom, done. So I have gotten rid of the fat. I'm leaving those little bits in there. And to the pan now, we are going to add 1 medium diced onion. After we add some butter to it. Butter, margarine, whatever you have on hand. Just need that little bit of creamy type fat to it. So, that's starting to melt. I had to move the camera out of the way to get the onions. Onions in the pan, stir, stir, stir. At one point, do season, add some salt, pepper if you wish. And we're just going to cook these down until they're a bit translucent, a minute or two. That's all you need. This is what you want your onions to look like. Basically, you want to bring out the moisture. Then we're going to add sliced mushrooms. Yes, I know what you're saying. Ooh, he bought pre-sliced mushrooms. Yes, I did, because it was just easier for me at the time. Not that mushrooms are hard to slice, it's just want to make this simple and easy for everyone to do. So just like that, we're going to keep stirring. So you're going to keep stirring the mushrooms. And basically what you want to do is you want the mushrooms to absorb any liquid that's in the pan and then start releasing the liquid that it soaked up. Because you add a lot of extra flavor to it. So you can see the mushrooms have cooked down quite a bit. Now to this, we are adding a couple tablespoons of flour, or just under a quarter of a cup, and we're going to give that a stir. You basically want to coat everything in the flour. The flour is going to help thicken up the sauce as we get it going here. So we're going to cook, and stir until the mushrooms and the onions get to this grainy texture that you see. You're not trying to break down the mushrooms. Onions are already cooked off enough. The mushrooms, you want to keep them whole. That's why if you are slicing your own mushrooms, slice them fairly thick. Now here, I am about to add beef broth. Now, if you want to make your own beef broth, go right ahead. I did not this time, and I'm not sorry for it. Again, most people that are going to watch this are going to buy their own beef broth in the containers from the stores. You're not going to offend me if you do. Does it taste as good as homemade broth? No, salt content is high. That's why you should probably get the low sodium, but hey, it's convenience. It's there. We need to make this quick. Supper needs to be on the table. All in all, this whole thing takes about maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So after I add the beef broth and start bringing that back up to a boil, I'm going to add, I believe, about 1 tablespoon of Sunset Gourmet Oso garlic. Now, I do sell this. If you would like a bottle or two, hit me up in the comments, send me an email, and I'll get it for you. So now we're just going to stir, and continue on. Okay, so as you can see, the sauce is boiling away beautifully. Now, after we've stirred in that Oso garlic, next you're going to add about 2/3 of a cup of sour cream. Or if you're just using a small container like I am, probably about 3/4 of that container of sour cream. This is going to give the sauce a nice creamy texture. Do not worry if the sauce looks like it's split. You let it go on the heat, it will break everything down, and the sauce will come together and be nice and smooth and creamy and have that wonderful velvety texture when you start eating it. Don't worry, trust me on this. Everything will break down. You're going to see here, there's going to be the odd clump of sour cream. Don't worry about it. Just keep stirring. It will get there eventually. Excuse me. Then you want to add a good dollop of Dijon mustard. For me, this was to taste. Now, you could start with a tablespoon and then add more if you wish. I did add more, and because quite frankly, I like Dijon mustard, and it gives it a nice kick. Not a spicy kick, but a kick, and it adds a lot of flavor. So at this point, once everything is stirred in and combined, we're going to take the ground beef and add it back add it to the sauce. And we're going to stir until we bring it all together. And then we're going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes, just so everything can mingle, everything can make everybody happy, saucy, and almost gooey to a degree. Okay, so after sitting on the burner for a few minutes, everything was soaked up. I added a little bit of extra beef stock just to loosen it up a bit. And as you can see, it's nice and creamy. Now the way I plate this is I'm using a bowl. Put it in the bowl as much as you want. 2 or 3 good size scoops is good. And depending on how hungry you are or who's eating it or whatever the case may be. So there it is in the bowl, beef stroganoff. And what I do is I just add some chopped parsley and boom, there you go. Bon appetit. So, if you found this easy and you like it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.